Welcome back to Steve Rob Reviews. Today's review is going to be quite interesting. We're going to compare the Power Probe 3 to this, well, it's a clone of the Power Probe. Now, this would actually be, well, I used to have the Power Probe 2. This would be more aligned with the Power Probe 2, not the 3. But we're going to compare them both so you could actually see the difference and whether, well, a testing tool like this, should you get one? Should you spend the money for this? So let's just take a look and see how much the Power Probe 3 today is on Amazon. So there's the price of the Power Probe 3 today. And let's take a look and see what the price of this one was today. And there you go. So the decision is going to be quite clear in the end. And we're going to take a look at either one of these and see whether this one here for the price is something that you should consider buying yourself. Let's go over to the bench. Let's take a look. So let's just start off at this end of the bench here, and I just have a quick look at, well, exactly why somebody would need to use one of these particular testing instruments. And I use them for all kinds of electrical testing, and you know, there's reasons why, you know, people have a multimeter. This does not replace a multimeter. This does not replace a multimeter. They're two separate entities that do different things, but they cross a couple of times in their uses. But generally, yeah, I go for the multimeter most of the time compared to using one of these. The only difference is your multimeter can't produce the current needed to turn a circuit on. So I'm going to use my power supply today. This is an old power supply I had. I'm going to be getting a new power supply. And yeah, there's all kinds of reasons why you could use one of these. And especially when it comes to like, you know, if you got like relays, well, one of these units comes in fantastic for something like that. So the specs on these particular units are quite different. When you're trying to compare the Power Probe 3, I would say if you got the money, buy the Power Probe 3. This here is far from being in the same competitive range as the Power Probe 3, but for a lot of people, this will do just fine. And this here, well, you can see it doesn't have no lights on it or anything. This one here has lights. It's got a removable tip. You know, you can change this around to do different things. If I could get this off with one hand. And yeah, anyways, the tip does come off here. And you could put different attachments on the end there. So now I did use the Power Probe 3 when I was designing this this one experiment I did a while ago on making a battery charger for up my off-grid cabin using diodes. And these are the diodes I use. They're 15 amp diodes, and I'll put a picture in here of what that looks like. And I use these particular diodes in conjunction with a solar panel so I could charge up to 4 different batteries over the winter time when I'm storing my equipment up at my cabin. And I'll put a link down below if you haven't seen that video, but it's quite interesting, and it solves a lot of problems on keeping your batteries topped up over the winter. So I'll turn my power supply on, we'll do a little bit of testing, and we'll show the difference between the two. And you know, for the money, I would say a lot of entry-level people would use this. The reason why I bought it, well, I'm going to put this in my toolbox up north, and I'll use that. I'll keep this one down in the city. But sometimes, well, you need two. So at least now I'll have one, and I didn't want to go out and spend you know, the money on another one of these, because when I bought this years ago, I paid like $70 for this. So let's start testing, and we'll turn the power supply on. So I got the power supply on. I got the Power Probe 3 hooked up, and you can see it's got lights, which is far superior than this one here that doesn't have any lights. But of course, you could tell with the price difference, right? So Now, if we just take a look at this, and we take a look at, let's just see if, can you see that screen there? Well, it's got a digital display on it, and it's got this little button here. You turn it on, and it'll make a noise every time you touch something with a power or a ground. I like to turn it off because it's annoying. But if we just go to, say, on my power supply here, see, it makes a reading. And if you go to the ground, you notice that it goes green here, goes red here. And that's a good identifier for a lot of things that actually, well, can help you out diagnosing something. And a lot of people, well, they're not too sure if they got a use for a little rig like this, but I tell you what, it comes in handy. Now, if you take a look at the wiring, this has got a 20-foot cable that comes with it, and the kit comes with, you can plug it into your cigarette lighter. Most people would attach the cables to their battery and start doing their diagnosis from there. And everything you touch on the tip here will register. And that comes in real handy many times. And if you like the beeper section here, well, you touch a live wire, goes red and it beeps. And it goes green here if you touch a negative, and it's got a different tone. I like to turn it off because I find it annoying. Now, the use for these things is to power something up. And just imagine you got your current coming out here in a linear form, and you've also got an alligator clip at the other end that provides a ground if you need it. So let's just do a little bit of testing here and see what this one here can do. And the only difference that I've looked at the specs is this has got a higher amperage rating than this one. But I mean, this is 7 amps. This goes higher than 7 amps. And many times if you're trying to load something up and get it to work, you may need more than 7 amps, but not too often. Okay, so let's just take a look at something that you can do some testing with these. And this would be your flat 4-wire trailer plug. And these come in quite handy using a tester like this for testing your trailer wiring. Because when it comes down to it, you don't know what's going on with your vehicle, whether it's the plug at your vehicle or whether it's the plug on your trailer, whether it's the wiring, whether it's the bulbs, whatever. So you can isolate it by disconnecting it here, and you take your attached ground, you put it here like this. Now, if you notice the wire here, now on a trailer, on a 4-pin, the ground is not a black, it's a white. And if you take a look at the brown is only for your tail lights, and the green is right turn and brakes, and yellow is left turn and brakes. So all you have to do is just put your little provided clamp on, and then just touch on the inside each one of these, and it will power up the circuit once you press power. And it shows this one here shows that you're actually injecting 12.8 volts into each one of these, and it will light up, and it make it so much easier to diagnose which one of these is not working right, because you're providing the power. So you know there's only so many faults in a system, and this will make it so much easier to diagnose that with. So let's go along with testing some components, and let's start off with, well, a simulated car horn. So here we've got a small little horn. Now I didn't want to get a big horn because it would just make noise, but anyways, on most horns on your vehicles, you're going to have one wire, and the other wire is not there. You're going to only have a power feed, which would be the red wire, and the item is fastened to the chassis to provide the ground. But in this situation, you just put the little pigtail on here, you bring it over, you provide power, and it lights up. And I mean, you can do the same thing with, say, like a small little light like this. And I mean, you just put it over to it, and now nothing's happening. So what's going on? Well, maybe you got the polarity wrong. Maybe you got to go on the other side. There you go, right there. Right? So if you take a look, you can see which side has got the polarity, because it's got a tag on here. So, okay, so now the other one is diodes. Yeah, you can test a diode with a multimeter, and it's got identifiers on a diode. Diodes have identifiers on them on one end. What you would do is you would turn your multimeter on, and even if you put it on, say, continuity. So we just put this on. See if I get that all in a shot there. Together. And you could see 43, right? And you go in the other direction, and it's nothing. So you could tell that when you've got it in this direction here, the current is flowing. And this is the red lead, so it's going from here over to this way. And if you tried to get some back current coming through this way, it won't go, because the diode stops it. So let's just take a look at this small little, well, I would say a clone of the power probe, and see whether it can do the same testing. So, I mean, I think it's logical that it would, but let's just try a couple of items. Okay, so we got the other one connected. Now this only has a 13-foot cable. And of course the wiring is not as stout, but I mean, you know what? Price point, right? So we'll do the same thing, and so let's just take a look here. And yeah, you could see if you touch a positive, it goes red, and if you touch a negative, it goes green. And there's no beeper on this. If you take a close look, like the casing screws going into it, like are pretty cheesy. And if you take a look at take a close look there, you could see that, well, this button isn't exactly square, and it's kind of sitting up, and there's just a sticker on here. But I mean, it does the job, right? And I mean, if you want to inject a positive, it turns red, a negative turns, green, and that's about it, right? So let's just try the buzzer and try the light and see if it'll actually work. Okay, so I got the light hooked up here, the same as I did with the Power Probe 3. And we'll just touch the probe to it. Okay, now there's something wrong right there. That should not light up. I didn't press the button yet, and it's already lighting up. So I mean, now let me just press the button and see what happens. Yeah, it's going brighter, but this here has got some leakage in it, I would say, because this is not supposed to go on. So let's just try the buzzer and see what happens. Making a good contact. Okay, you see that right there? That's wrong. See, it's injecting the current before I even hit the trigger. So I mean, that's a total fail right there, because this tip should not be energized until you actually provide the switch in a forward position. If you're going to provide a negative, then of course it'll go in the opposite direction. But this is a total fail. So when you're thinking about using one of these, is this a good idea? Because it's not giving its full current, but this switch is not turning this off completely. So what do I think? So let's just take a look at the box that it came in here. Brilliant tool for the auto electrician and mechanic. Well, Is this brilliant? Or is this brilliant? Okay, so I got the Brilliant tool for the auto electrician and mechanic all put back in the box. I'm sending this back to Amazon. It's a total fail. I mean, for the money, the price is right. You know, you could probably get away with using it. But as soon as I seen that it actually puts out a small amount of current, bleeds through that switch into the tip, fail. Total fail. When I are doing some electrical testing and I don't want any current to be going out the end of the tip until I apply, you know, the switch to turn it on. Well, that's the thing that is the total fail. I mean, it's maybe this is just a one-off, you know, like piece of crap tool, but for me, I can't recommend this thing. I don't know if the one you're going to get would work right, but this one here doesn't work right. It's going back to Amazon. C'est la vie. So thanks for joining me here today. It was a nice little experiment to see if you could get something for this price that'll match the power probe. Well, you know what? Buy the power probe. Cheers.